What is up guys, Aqua Supreme back with another video, and today's topic is going to be why are my shrimps dying? So, aquarium shrimps, also known as aquarium crustaceans, those small little thingies that you do have in your tank. I do have 3 species of shrimp currently at the moment, 2 being new caridina, 1 being caridina. The 2 new caridinas are my Bloody Mary shrimp and my Blue Dream shrimp. I don't think you've seen the Bloody Marys before, but you have seen the Blue Dreams, and I will show you a video of how they are doing now and show you all the babies I got. They were in that breeding shrimp in tubs video, so that is what I got from that whole experience. Very impressed with that. I'm just not very happy with the color that I got on my Blue Dreams. I know they can be a lot more bluer, like solid blue. You'll see what I mean in the video. Anyway, so I'll probably just sell them off as culls and start off a new colony. I do see some blue ones, so I'll maybe keep them, maybe not, I don't know, I'll see from there. So that is how I'm going to kill my shrimp, by getting rid of them. Anyway, moving on from that, and then I do have a caridina species, which is my yellow King Kong. I only have 1 at the moment. I lost 2 when shipping, so that they arrived dead. And I haven't claimed from that yet, but I have spoken to the guys and everything's good there. And then I lost 1 literally a couple of hours after putting it in my tank, which I can also claim a DOA for. So I'll be replacing 3 of them. That means I'll have 4, and then I'll get a few more. I'll probably get about 210, so I'll get 6 more. And then I'll have 10 of them, and then hopefully I can start getting my yellow King Kong caridina species going. But now the sad news comes, I have lost 1 shrimp. Okay, it's not that sad of news. I've lost 1 shrimp that I do know of. I'm not too sure about the babies. My shrimplets of my Blue Dream shrimp, I'm not too sure if I've lost them. And the others were a scenario of, was a case of DOA, so it wasn't my fault for losing them. But if you count them all up, I've lost 4 shrimp total in my few months of shrimp keeping. So I'm very happy, and I do think I know a thing of 2. I also do learn a lot from work about shrimps. So I think I do know, I don't think I know. Of personal experience, I have a few tips that I'll give you guys just to save your shrimp and the reason why they are dying. So the first topic is going to be unstable water parameters. As you've all heard, that shrimps are very finicky when it comes to water parameters. They are not as hardy as fish are, and that is true for the most part, but I have found them hardier than most internet people, YouTubers, whatever say. I think it is a bit of a gamble when getting shrimps. The shrimps I've gotten so far, they are not really finicky to water parameters. I just use normal dechlorinated tap water with my caridina and my new caridina species, and I do have them on a shrimp substrate at the moment, which lowers the pH of the water, the overall hardness of the water, and they're still doing fine. My caridinas that I'm speaking of now, they do prefer much hardier water, and I do have them in softer water now. I think the tap water cancels it out, so that might be the reason why, but I do have them on a shrimp substrate, and I haven't seen anything such as early molting. Early molting takes place when your shrimp gets shocked, and that can be by unstable water parameters. So they get shocked, they think they have to molt, they molt earlier on, and their bodies just, it feels like a roller coaster to them. That's what I'm trying to say. And that causes them to die because they molt too early. But for me, I haven't had any problems for that. So water parameters are not a big gamble, but it is important to keep your water clean. Traces such as ammonia, nitrites and nitrates are going to kill any type of fish, while your nitrates won't, but ammonia and nitrites definitely will kill your fish and definitely will kill your shrimp. So do your water changes once every week, about 10%, 10 to 30% water change every week. Control the ammonia and nitrite level that you have inside of your tank by doing water changes. Do a test every now and then just to be safe, and if you lose all your fish at one go while your shrimp's on one go, that is probably going to be caused by an ammonia or a nitrite spike, something like that inside of your tank. Which brings me to my following point, is when doing water changes, to not do as big as a water change that you think is needed. So I fall under this category of idiots that to do, well, not idiots, but I like to see my tank clean. It is quite difficult because I have guppies and plecostomus, and they, well, not plecostomus, I have ancestris. Yes, I have ancestris inside of my tank. So those are your brisonous plecos, and they are messy. So it is a constant situation of me, and I think I have ADHD, not proven, but with me it is possible. So I like to have my tank spotless, and that's why I go through about 3 times a week doing water changes, maybe even 4 times a week, doing about 50% water changes, trying to siphon out all the poop and waste that is sitting at the bottom of the tank. And yes, it can be beneficial having cleaner water, but I do destroy a lot of beneficial bacteria by doing 50% water changes 4 times a week. When doing a big water change, trying to get your water as clean as possible, that can actually harm the shrimp more than doing only about 20% water change once or twice a week. So it is important to note not to do big water changes, especially all at once. Definitely not recommend doing a 50% water change on a shrimp tank. That can kill them due to water parameter differentiations. So be careful about that when doing your water changes, and if you do your water changes, try and match your water parameters inside of your tank, and that can be anything from water hardness to pH, well, yes, water hardness to pH to temperature. So you have to make sure all those things are matching or are just a bit different from each other, just to ensure that your shrimp do not endure any shock when doing a water change. I would also advise you guys to do some research on your shrimp. As you do know, you do get your different species, and I'm mainly talking about your caridinas and your neocaridinas at this moment, which your neocaridinas are a bit more hardier than your caridina species. So your neocaridinas prefer harder water. I think they range from a pH of 7. I'll put on all the details that I'm aware of at this moment in time on the screen, just to give you guys a bit of advice and guidance on your shrimp, because their water parameters do differ, and you have to have a close eye on that. Also do some research on the equipment that you are putting into your tank, or the hardscape that you are putting into your tank. Things such as your cereal stone and crushed coral, and I know the pool filter sand that I use does make the water a bit more hardier, and that's why my blue dreams were doing so good when I first had them in there. But being said, I also had my yellow King Kong in a tank with some pool filter sand in, and that, as I said, does increase the KH. And I did use normal tap water, dechlorinated tap water, and he still survived all this time. So I really think that people are pushing the limits when it comes to being safe. You really do not have to be that careful, but just keep a peace of mind. I would stick to what the internet says. Next up, I'm going to be talking about acclimation, your acclimation process. So as I mentioned in a few videos earlier on, that most people like to do a temperature acclimation, which is you take your bag with your shrimp or your fish inside and you place it on top of the water, you switch off your lights, Why are my dogs barking? 5 in the morning. I'm kidding, it's not 5. Give me a second. As I was saying, acclimation. you guys are used to temperature acclimations, where with shrimp being more finicky, it is important to do. Am I in the shot? I hope I'm in the shot. It is important to do a drip acclimation. It is important to do a drip acclimation, which means that you place your fish or your shrimp into a bucket or bowl or whatever container you have available, and placing them into that with the water they came in, and then taking your airline tubing, tying a knot in it, placing it into there, and then siphoning out your water, which will drip slowly by the knot that you have tied. So that will get your shrimp used to your water parameters as well as the temperature of your water. Not so much the temperature, because it does cool down when your water is dripping slowly. Not all the temperature is reaching there, but it does help them a lot concerning the water parameters and a bit of the temperature. So I would definitely recommend you guys doing a drip acclimation instead of a normal temperature acclimation, because what happens when doing a temperature acclimation, yes, your fish or your shrimp do get used to your temperature, the aquarium temperature that you have them in or you're going to place them in, but they are not used to the water parameters that they came from, and they are probably, if you bought them from a breeder, in a lot softer water than your water is necessarily going to be. So that temperature shock, while that water parameter shock, will cause early molting, and your shrimp will die in about 3 days time, which we all do not want, because then you cannot claim back from a DOA and it is your fault and you lost all that money and you lost all your shrimp. So rather do a drip acclimation. It is also important, this is not so much acclimation, but it is important to add them to a mature tank. So a tank where the beneficial bacteria has been up and running for a couple of weeks times now, after you've done your entire cycling process, adding in some fish, then adding in your shrimp. Definitely recommend adding in your shrimp last, after that system has matured a bit, beneficial bacteria has been growing a bit, because they are a bit more finicky. So add them in a mature system. The next is going to be a bit of a silent killer that kills shrimp, and that is going to be copper. Copper is used in a lot of products, especially your plant fertilizers, because plants need copper to help them grow. So there is copper in most plant fertilizers. Just read the ingredients on your plant fertilizer that you are using, because you do not want to add copper, especially just normal straight up copper into your tank. You might get away with it if it's mixed with something else in like a plant fertilizer, but straight up copper, adding that into your tank will definitely kill your shrimp. Shrimp do not like copper. And then going on from that, even if you do not have shrimps inside of your tank, if you add copper into that tank, it will stay in that tank, unfortunately. So when you decide to convert that tank to a shrimp tank, or decide to place in some shrimp later on, I know your, what are those shrimps called again? Not your bamboo shrimp. Mono shrimp. A mono shrimp, that is the name. So even if you decide to add some algae cleaners into your tank, such as your mono shrimp, that will kill them. The copper sinks into the silicone of your tank, it stays in there, and then it releases into the water while it's inside of the silicone in your tank, and that will kill your shrimp, unfortunately. So be wary, and when buying tanks second hand, let's say for instance Marketplace, you buy tanks from Marketplace, just make sure to ask the seller if they had added any copper into that tank, just to be sure. My next tip is going to be medications, and by medications I mean things such as your aquarium salts, your snail killers, your dewormers, your methylene blues. Any type of medicine can really affect shrimp in a negative way. It might not kill them depending on the dosage, but it will definitely have a negative impact on your shrimp, and a high enough dosage will kill your shrimp. Be careful, rather take that fish out, place it in a hospital tank or a quarantine tank and medicate it separately than medicating it with your shrimp. even your catfish are very finicky to different types of medicines. So read on the fine print, no, not the fine print, the back, the disclaimer of your medicine bottle, and then half dosage. Most likely you are going to have to do a half dosage when it comes to catfish and shrimp. My fifth and final reason why shrimp die is going to be planaria. Planaria is a type of flatworm. I did do a video on planaria a while back, so definitely recommend you guys go checking out that video to know how to get rid of them. And they are completely harmless to fish, but they do kill shrimp. What they do is they actually climb into the scales of your shrimp and they sit there. You can actually see the planaria inside of your shrimp. It's not very nice to look at. I do not have a video of that, unfortunately, but there are some online, so you can go have a look at that if you want to see what it looks like. As I said, I do have a few ways to get rid of your planaria if you have it inside of your tank. Go watch that video. And yes, that is going to be it, guys. This is a video of why your shrimp are dying. As I said, do not be too worried. Do not stress yourself to death over your shrimp. They are hardier than you think. Mine are doing great. They aren't only surviving, they are thriving. But it is better to be safe than sorry. So take these tips into hand, keep it in mind, and use it on your shrimps if you do ever get any. Hopefully you do, because they are very nice creatures. They are something different to your normal fish or catfish or loaches or whatever you name it. So they are different to that, and it is nice, the different colors, and they do breed easy if your water parameters are right. So they will breed for you. You can sell those babies if you want to, just to make a bit of money from your hobby and pay for your fish food or pay for your medication that you have to get, anything, or even that new tank that you do want to get. So yes guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found it informative, hopefully you did learn from this video, and hopefully your shrimp will be much better off. That is it. Peace.